November saw the publication of the report Talking Jesus. It's the fruit of professional research into how people become Christians. And I found it fascinating reading, together with this earlier report, From Anecdote to Evidence. It's full of interesting facts, and facts are our friends. And as I've read the reports and wrestled with them, there are all sorts of insights which I've gleaned about how people become Christians and how we can play to our strengths as well as address our weaknesses. In this report, Talking Jesus, for example, what it says is that the prime way in which people become Christians is actually being brought up in a Christian family. And that didn't surprise me, because I know how important it was in my own life. But what fascinated me with what comes second. And I'd like to quote to you from the report. It says that the second factor that is most influential in people, and here I'm quoting, is attending a church service other than a wedding or a funeral. The research reveals that what's really important is the quality of our worship. Nothing, in fact, is more important for our mission than getting our worship right. I rejoice in new initiatives such as Cafe Church, Messy Church, Fresh Expressions. These are all really good, innovative ways in which we're pushing out the envelope and enabling people on the fringes of our churches to come in and discover more of the riches of Christ. That's great. But it doesn't let us off the hook of trad church, because actually, Sunday by Sunday, what we're doing in our parishes or churches is really important. And we've got to raise the quality of our worship. And so if actually we're not preparing for our worship properly, we're not giving it our best energy, these are weaknesses which we've got to address. And here's another thing that I learnt from the other report, From Anecdote to Evidence. It identifies growth as being intentional in our style of worship. And I found this bit of research quite fascinating, because what it says is that the style of worship in a parish actually appears to have no correlation to growth, so long as there's consistency and that there's clarity and that the chosen style and tradition is wholeheartedly adopted. In other words, whatever our style of worship, whether it's traditional, whether it's contemporary, we need to do it with sparkle. That's the thing that's really going to make the difference. As I said, services can sometimes be derailed by poor preparation, by lack of consistency. And actually, when we get it right, then a quality and a depth of worship appears in our services, which is actually transformative. It's a bit like, when you go out for a walk in the country and there's a pond and you pick up a stone and you throw it into the pond. And do you know how the pebble goes really deep at the bottom and then the ripples come on the surface? Well, that's how the grace of God is in our lives. Because it goes deep and then its ripples come out and they transform our lives and our situations.